So last week, I actually hosted a in-person mastermind event for 8 of my clients in the Ecom Blueprint and that level mastermind program. And I can tell you that it was an absolutely amazing day, right? I had planned this thing for weeks. I'd planned to provide as much value as I possibly could for the attendees. We hosted it in Sydney. And people came from all over Australia. I flew down from the Gold Coast. One of my coaches flew down from the Gold Coast. We had people come from north, south, and west of Sydney within 2-3 hours, and some other people interstate as well. And whenever I do these things, and we do them probably 2 or 3 times a year, and we do it for a select group of clients. It's free for my clients, but it's first in, best dressed. I like to keep the room really intimate because then we can get the most value out of it. Okay. I love having everyone's contribution and input to, what people should be doing in certain topics and asking certain questions and, getting sort of any updates to do with what's working well and what's challenging at the moment. But I like to keep the numbers limited so that we can work specifically on their business when we're there. So I've done bigger events, but I love the format of in an intimate environment. And so this was extremely successful. So what we basically did was we spent a day in a boardroom in Sydney. We had the caterers come in, we had, all the facilities we actually needed. But the value that people got was literally the interaction with other business owners. Okay, that was sort of, I would say, part A. So simply by being there in a physical room with people was incredibly valuable. To start a relationship, to start a conversation, to have some relatability to someone else's journey was incredible. And so whilst the learnings throughout the day were also invaluable, like I'm talking planning out people's next 6 to 12 months, how they're going to double, triple, quadruple what they're currently doing in revenues, and I'll talk about that in part B. The fact that they could meet and greet, shake hands, as I said, get really close to some people and form some long-term friendships. And I've had some of my best friendships meeting people at in-person events through masterminds like this. And so that was the part A of the benefit of being part of a community, being part of a program of like-minded people. And as I say, the reason I started my communities, my programs, was for that reason, that I got value from other people's communities as well, whatever endeavor that actually was. And so as a business owner, particularly an online business owner, the realities can be, kind of bleak, like in a way, right? We spend so much time in our office, we spend too much time in the warehouse, we spend so much time really on our own in isolation, especially if you're doing less than that 20K per month, which is the majority of people in, my programs. Then whilst we have access to the world, we are so isolated, okay? We don't know what other people are going through. We don't feel connected to other people. And so a step in the right direction is joining a program like I'm talking about here, where, we've worked with over 250 brands at this point over the last 3 years. But then the next step is actually meeting people in person. And it is absolutely fantastic. It is just a feeling that it continues to inspire me and invigorate me and continue to help more and more and more business owners that I possibly can, as well as do more and more of these events that I can actually handle. And so the value of just being able to be in a room with those people, I'm talking business owner to business owner here, was out of this world. The part B to that is the actual strategy. Okay. So, obviously we do that within our program, but whether people have just started in the program or they're halfway through, or they're even, renewed a couple of terms and just continuing on being in the program potentially for years, they got value just by having that directness, me actually standing and staring at them and saying, what are your challenges? This is what we then need to do to solve them and to get back on the straight and narrow, because it happens from time to time. It's very difficult as a owner operator in a business standpoint to go bullet a gate for years and years and years on end. It's doable. People do it, but you need to be able to pop your head up every now and then and see the forest for the trees. You need to know that you're actually going in the right direction, because if you're just 1 degree off, I'll use this analogy. If a airplane pilot is 1 degree off and they're traveling halfway around the world, they'll end up hundreds, probably thousands of kilometers off direction, right? And so that's the same thing with your business, right? If you're just going day in, day out, same head down, not checking, the view every now and then you could be going the completely wrong direction. And so this is one of those opportunities to speak with me and my other coaches and other people who are successful to make sure you're actually going in the right direction. It was really eye-opening for some people to get that recalibration. They were doing the right things, but they could have done a little bit better, or they could be focusing here, or not seeing this opportunity, or spending too much time on this thing over here. And so that was another advantage of the day. We got their plan laid out for the next 6 to 12 months for them to actually crush it with their businesses. They're going to be nothing holding them back from this actual event. And so it was incredibly crucial. as I say, for me personally, it invigorated me. I love meeting people in person. I love inspiring people in person. And as I say, it's reciprocal. And so one thing that we did, which I haven't done before, we had two very successful clients in the community that came, and I actually interviewed them. And you might have seen them on this channel. You might have seen them around my channels and socials as well. One guy's name is Sean. Okay, he's since hit $6,000 per month. But we interviewed him. I had a conversation with him. People were able to ask questions to him about hitting his first $10,000 month. So he started my program from scratch, basically from zero. And he built it up to 10K a month, first 10 months that was. And so we spoke about the most important things. We spoke about what he would do differently. We spoke about how to get to that milestone faster with the knowledge and experience and wisdom that he has now. And I'll share more about that on my, my socials and in my content as well over the coming week or two. But it was incredible to hear that right from the outset, what it actually takes, especially for those that haven't hit, 10K per month. The second guest we had was a guy called Nick, and he hit his first 100K month through the program. He's since gone on to do, multiple hundreds, to 200 to 250. I think his best month was, just last year. And he came in at $20,000 a month, right? And he hit, 250, which is incredible. And so I sat down and spoke with him as well. And the thing that came out of this, both these people, even though they were arguably 5 to 10x, apart, right? 20, let's call it to 200, or 50 to, 250. Well, the same or similar things. And it's something I talk about and preach about all the time. One is that they know their numbers. They know their numbers in a back of the napkin context. They know how much they're spending. They know how much they're earning. They know how much their COGS are. They know how much their shipping is, right? They know their numbers and they track them daily. The second thing is that they know there's an element of testing, iteration, and market feedback that's necessary to get to that next level. And so, as I say, it doesn't matter if it was Sean getting into his first 10K, which he's had more experience now, hit the 50 and 75K as well, but he was talking specifically about that first 10. And Nick, who hit that first 100, who has since again gone on to do, multiple hundreds per month, they were saying the same thing, but in a different way. One was that they knew their numbers, and that was their eyes on their business. They knew everything from very start to very finish. They knew it intimately, they looked at it regularly, and they were able to make adjustments based on that. The second thing was that they just knew absolutely everything about testing the pathway to getting to that successful outcome, right? They never saw their businesses as challenges. They never saw their businesses as overwhelming. They never saw their businesses as, I'm going to have problems when I get to X. Okay, that is all in hindsight looking. Of course, it feels like we've got challenges, we've got problems, and things are going to get, things are really hard right now, they're going to get easier. But the reality was that you just grow with that in terms of experience and expertise, and you're able to be conditioned by these things. And the faster you condition yourselves with the challenges and the problems that we see now, the faster we'll progress. But as I say, those things won't go away. They'll just grow in size, essentially grow in risk. So that is the reality. And it's really good to hear it from, as I say, in person, very, very successful brand owners that have gone from that starting point to where people want to go. And it was invaluable for, as I say, people in the moments now to hear that. People doing $1,000 a month or $5,000, or some are even doing $50,000 or $60,000 per month. So to hear it from people that are in that position, as I have done to them, was absolutely incredible and inspiring. And just, as I say, it fires you up because you know that there's not any magic fairy dust or anything particularly special about these people that is just unknown to everyone else in the marketplace. And I've seen this like hundreds of times over the years with the clients that I've mentored. And that's why we have a formula, my ecom blueprint, right? But like my status stands in the sense of what we offer through our program, the devil's in the details. The customization to your particular business matters. There's information all over the internet, YouTube University, there's all these programs, all these courses, all that sort of stuff. That's great. But if you can't know what you need to do in your particular order at your point in time, it doesn't matter. There's too much information. We're in the information age. And so that's what we do within this program, Ecom Blueprint and Up-Level Mastermind, is the specificity, the customization to that business. And that's how these guys were able to get these ridiculous results, amazing results, and they'll continue to succeed. Okay. So that was a really valuable part of the event we had, the mastermind event we had. And as I say, I'm doing these, 2-3 times a year. I love them. People get so much value, including myself. So I just wanted to share that with you. I want to share the lessons, the learnings, and also just peg it back to what makes people succeed. What are those underlying attributes? What are those daily activities that people do that help them get to the crazy levels? But also feed you, what the realities of running a business are, okay, in terms of problems and challenges and all these things that we need to overcome. And hopefully that's been helpful for you. Hopefully that gives you confidence and helps you see that everybody goes through similar things. in order to help you to keep going in your journey and help you improve and grow every day. Okay, so look, I hope this was valuable. It's a very kind of candid chat with what I had learned from my clients. Still always learning. Every day is a school day. And so hopefully that was valuable to you. If it was, I'd love a like, love a subscribe, keep following along, providing value like this all the time. If you want to know how about me help e-commerce businesses, click on the link below. But other than that, thanks for watching till the end, and I'll catch you in the next one.